It's been quite a bit, hasn't it? Since I've just sat at this desk and just talked about a topic. We haven't really done a proper SBU episode since last decade. I'm sorry. Let's just go ahead and get started with the topic of fighting games. Yo! Okay, so the whole genre of fighting games is pretty complex, you see. It's filled with so many different things to talk about. You know, we'll be looking at many different types of fighting games, with everyone having different perspectives on the subject, from a totally sexy pro to the ultimate casual. We'll be giving our takes on the whole genre, including some of the sightings, including esports and the communities behind these games. Now, keep in mind that we all have different opinions on the subjects that we will be talking about. So, keep in mind, if you disagree with anything we say, then let's have a conversation about it. Because this point of this series is to create conversation. Even when we can't be together due to what's ever happening in the outside world. So, I'm sick with some viral infection. So the Revolving Reality series will be delayed for quite a bit until that passes, and especially with whatever is happening with the world and everything like that, that might be delayed for even longer. So I also hope I don't have whatever is going on out here, because that'll suck. I can't even get tested for it, so pray for the best. But you know, let's not get sidetracked. Let's go ahead and talk about our subject. Oh wait, before we begin, I'm getting an important announcement from the SBU awards ceremony. Let's hurry and cut to what's happening. Hello everyone, I hope you are having a great night, cause I'm not, since I'm dying. Tonight is a special night, since I'm going to announce the winners of the SBU awards. What is the best and the worst games of the decade? Come on, bring it all up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the crowd is going wild right now. Shut up, you bro. We did many polls over many social medias, and we got over 100 votes on all of these polls. Let's start with naming off the nominees for the best games of the decade. Starting with Super Mario Galaxy 2, a special and unforgettable spacey platformer. Fire Emblem Awakening, a great start to an RPG. NCAA 14, a competitive, souped-up version of Madden. Last of Us, God tier of apocalyptic games. And the winner of the best game of the decade goes to... Oh my god, unbelievable guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a tie between two games that I would never seen coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to inform you that the winners of the best game of the decade is Super Mario Galaxy 2 and NCAA 14. What an upset! What an upset! And now it's time to state the nominees of the worst games of the decade. Starting with Sonic Boom. The cartoon was better. Mario Party Island Tour doesn't hold up to the classics. No. Sonic 06. Wait. What decade is that from again? And finally, Pet Resort. Borderline PETA game. Sorry. And the winner of the worst game of the decade is... Oh wow. What a shocker. It's Sonic 06. It's not even from this decade, but okay, whatever. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of this special night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for voting on these polls and watching these videos for us. It's just amazing, this adventure that we've been put on. And now the adventure isn't over yet, because the winners will be getting their own videos very soon, hopefully. Don't know when they're getting their own videos, but they're getting their own videos, and that's all that matters. And unfortunately, it'll be going back to your regular scheduled program in a second, but unfortunately, I'm getting news that Haley Jack will not be in tonight's SBU episode due to unforeseen circumstances with the whole thing that's going on right now. Really sorry about that. Hopefully she'll be in the next one. But go back to your regular scheduled program. Why are fighting games so popular? I mean, they're so popular to the point where these huge events where these people could fight each other in front of a huge crowd. How are they so popular that there are dedicated communities just for one game. You know, it's to the point where some of the biggest players of this genre can make millions of dollars. Oops, that's the wrong competitive scene. 100% sure that none of these players have ninja money, but you know, how should I know? They're definitely making way more money than I am, that's for sure. Fighting games have become such a staple in gaming as a whole, and some of the biggest gaming franchises are fighting games. The influence of those games is truly remarkable, but what is it that makes these games so special? I'm here to tell you that it is the concept of fighting games and how every single game changes up the formula to become different and unique from each other. The concept of fighting games is simple and easy to grasp for even the most casual of gamers. It's just having the player face off against another player or CPU. It's very cool to see how many games change the method into something really unique. There's a problem with this though. These game mechanics are usually what makes these games different from each other. Sometimes these game mechanics can be easily manipulated or really difficult to master since the possibilities of fighting games are endless with how they could be designed. There's also being really good to the point where the casuals are left behind and have no way of catching up to your level. Professional players, esports to be exact. These problems don't leave too much of a bad mark, with the option of the holy CPU and matchmaking slowly getting better with giving you people who are at your level. The real appeal of fighting games is being able to challenge others to create unforgettable bonds, which I'll explain later. Fighting games have the special ability to challenge you with trying to get better at the mechanics so you can face others who already have mastered all the combos. It's all about practice makes perfect. I'm really sorry, I'm not going to do that again. The really good people, the already professional players, are going to have to adapt to your fighting style. Yeah. It is really cool to see how every game is different with such a simple concept, from crazy and beautiful art styles to different ways to do combos. Each game is different in their own way, which is why there are so many communities dedicated to just one game. The simplicity is able to create so many situations to have people end up enjoying this game in many different ways. Now let's go ahead and move on to why the SBU as a group enjoys this genre, if they do enjoy it. I honestly don't know. This is filmed before I'm editing, so I don't know what they're saying. If they're saying good things, then yes, you get the point. But
one of my favorite genres of video games to play is fighting games usually. So here I'd like to recommend a few to all of you out there. And I'd like to avoid the obvious choice, the obvious recommendation, which is, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So I'd like to recommend a few that maybe a few of you have never heard of. In terms of modern fighting games, I'd say Tekken 7 is probably the best one that you can get right now. The character roster is pretty diverse, and not only is it a good game to play competitively, but it's also a good game to play casually with your friends. So Tekken 7 is a good recommendation, I'd say. So another obvious recommendation would definitely have to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2, mostly because of its large character roster and the fact that if you're a huge fan of Marvel or Capcom, then you'll definitely want to pick up some of these games. I wouldn't recommend Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because that's, I wouldn't say it's the worst one, but it's definitely not, it doesn't live up to the ones that came out before. So definitely Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I would recommend. However, if you're already a fan of Marvel vs. Capcom series, then I definitely recommend Skullgirls 2nd Encore for you. It's pretty much, the best way I can describe that game is pretty much a love letter to all fighting games. If you're a fan of any traditional 2D fighting game like Street Fighter or, like I said, Marvel vs. Capcom, then you'll definitely enjoy Skullgirls, without a doubt. One of my personal favorites would definitely have to be the Darkstalker series because of its diverse roster of all these different creatures from around the world and its whole horror aesthetic. And it kind of has like a sense of humor as well with this horror aesthetic as well. And it's such a, I'd say it still looks great to this day despite the old sprite work that they did in the 90s. I would definitely recommend Night Warriors or Darkstalkers 3, since it has a larger character roster and the gameplay is more refined. And my final recommendation would definitely have to be BlazBlue Central Fiction. BlazBlue is my favorite fighting game series of all time, and every character just feels so different from each other that you'd want to try every character in the roster. And the roster is pretty massive as well. Not as big as, say, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or Smash Bros. Ultimate, of course not. But there's still a good amount of characters in there. They all fight unique, they all play interesting, and the characters themselves are interesting. So if you're into anime and you enjoy fighting games, then definitely give BlazBlue a try. You won't regret it. But overall, I think the thing that makes fighting games interesting to me is that it's like it teaches you to be more patient and to be more persistent. Because fighting games are hard. They're not easy to learn, but the more you play them and the more you lose, the more you learn, and you become better at it. And I think that's what I like the most, is that it makes you more patient and it makes you just better at things in general. It makes you want to learn more so you can be better at things.
I played tons, a good amount of fighting games throughout my childhood that I want to mention. The very first one that I played was on the Wii, and it was a Naruto game. Yes, one of those games, if you know what I'm talking about. It's funny, because I knew nothing about anime at this point. I was like, how old was I? I was a really young age. I knew nothing about anime at that moment. I don't even know how I got this game, or where did I get this game, who gave me this game, I don't know, to be completely honest with you. But it doesn't matter, because I played this game a lot. Like, a lot.
Naruto, Clash of Ninja, Revolution.
It's a weird and unnecessary title, but it's a good game, okay? The 3D space felt revolutionary at the time, and the combos looked so refined and was surprisingly fine for how much they target you, then untarget you while they're fighting you, because that makes sense. The special moves looked so badass, and it felt badass when you pulled them off correctly. There's so many characters to choose from, and all of them do cool stuff, except Hinata. Since for some reason she can't do anything in this game. Don't understand why she's in here. It just seems, I don't watch anime that much, if any at all, so I don't really know the importance of this character. But it really just seems like she's just a total klutz who just sucks at what? She's married to Naruto? What the next game I played was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which I don't remember at all. I do remember the clunky fighting and the awful story mode. This is also known for having a custom character mode in a Mario Kart clone. I call it a Mario Kart clone because of the cartoon-like characters, the items, and even the tracks themselves. Although they seem more reminiscent of the Crash Team Racing tracks more. I don't really have much to say about this, and the Mortal Kombat series as a whole, especially when I've already made a video talking about the series. Let's go ahead and move on. The Injustice series deserves a video on its own because of how much I loved playing this game. You know, the characters, the areas you would fight on, the obstacles you would face on those areas you would fight on, the transitions to different areas that you would be fighting on, the characters' intros before you go and fight them, the characters' special moves, which were just whole ass cutscenes. Even the goddamn loot boxes in the sequel was so much fun, and I usually hate loot boxes. Heck, the overcomplicated stories is usually what got me into playing these games in the first place. They were just so stupid, you know? Especially in the sequel, where you don't even get to play all the characters, unlike the first one, where the only character you don't play as is Shazam, who gets this scene. Yeah. So the gameplay, yeah, was just, oh yeah, boy. That's what I wrote in the script. That's what I wrote in the script. Why did I write that in the script? The sequel excelled in the pace of the fighting. It was way more reactive than the first one, which had better characters to choose from, and the story made more sense than the second one. You see what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that both of them have the flaws, both of them have the benefits. Either way, both of them are solid games that you should play if you like fighting games. Even though I know nothing about fighting games. Why am I making this video again? And I really hope to see more of the series, even when they're the same people who created More Combat, which I feel like is dying in quality slowly and painfully over time. But that's for another video. Oh wait, already made the video. Okay, sorry, let me move on. Street Fighter 2 is another game that I played, and I've already talked about it. Man, I really haven't played that much fighting games, have I? Do you guys have any recommendations of fighting games to play? Because I am interested in playing more, just so I can get to know more of the fighting game mechanics used to make these games in the first place. To make, because I guess this isn't really enough to really make a video on fighting games. But I only played 2, 3, I guess. Oh wait. I guess there's one game that I didn't talk about yet. One game. A game that is unique out of all of the other games that I've talked about. A game that just thinks outside of the box and has tons of different fighters from a variety of different games. It's basically a celebration of gaming as it's basically a celebration of just video games and their history. Ladies and gentlemen, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am talking about Super Smash Bros.
My favorite fighting games probably would start off with like Capcom vs. Marvel, because that was like the first fighting game I think I played. Me and my brother used to play all the time. We would go into like this mall and there's this gaming room we would play. And I used to play as Wolverine and someone else. And he played as Spider-Man and some other character. But I ended up like stealing Spider-Man from him because I just kept playing as him and I played better than he did with him. So he had to switch characters. I'm a casual. I really like, if I want to play a video game, I will. It's not like I'm gonna know all the moves and all the characters and all. It just depends, like, I don't know, it just depends on the game. But yeah, that was pretty much what started me off. After that, kind of played fighting games whenever they came up, but I mean, I didn't really get back into it until Injustice came out, and my family and we had like a tournament a couple different times, and they ended up banning me from playing as Nightwing because of the staff. So that was annoying. I mean, he was extremely OP in that game, but I don't know. I feel like you just can't ban characters. But yeah, I couldn't play. Well, no, I did play as him. I take that back. I just couldn't play with him with the elongated staff or whatever. I had to break it in half. But it didn't really change too much. But I don't know. I felt like with the staff, he was just OP. And I guess that's why they didn't want me to play as him. So we applied the same rule to Aquaman because I complained. I was like, no, like if I can't play as Nightwing, nobody can play as Aquaman because it's like this thing. It's the same issue if we're gonna go about like it just takes up too much space or there's too much reach. Like we're gonna complain about that. So yeah, then after that, I kind of played fighting games, like got into Melee for Smash. Didn't really play too much. Like my friend had it, I didn't, because our parents sold our Wii. Like we had a Wii, me, my brother and sister saved up our money and bought one, and then we didn't play it as much as we played the Xbox 360, I think it was, or the Kinect, whichever one it was. And they were like, oh, well, since you guys don't use this, we're just gonna sell it. And then after they sold it, they said that they bought it, and we did it. And I know that we bought it because I remember my dad complaining that me and my brother were trying to cheap out and let my sister pay the majority because there's 3 of us. So like, you know, splitting it between 3 people is just gonna be like 50-50 all the way across. I mean, it could have been, but like, I'm not gonna get into the math of it. Anyway, yeah, so they sold it, and then we didn't really buy another one. I was done buying things with my brother and sister after that. I just kind of, I am rambling about nothing right now. Like what? And guess what? Guess what? This part's gonna be in the video. It's not gonna get cut. I will bet my pinky finger right now. I will bet my pinky finger this will be in the video. Then the most recent game I got back into is because of the group. Because obviously I didn't play Smash Bros or anything like that. But Smash Ultimate, got into that. Yeah. At first it took me a while. Again, because I'm a casual, but I was garbage at trying to stay on the stage with the whole recovery thing. I don't know why. It's not even a hard concept, but like it just like, I guess because it was so fast paced and they knew what they were doing. It is pretty bad. But now I feel like, you know, me and Julien are kind of on the same level. More times than not, he'll probably beat me. It just depends. But Don is definitely still the best. But don't worry, you know, these upcoming videos, I'm gonna catch somebody lacking. Just you wait. Alright, but I'm about to ramble, and I know I am, so I'm gonna stop.
I wanted to dedicate a whole section of this video to just Smash Bros. Because of how special this game is to my heart. Even when the community is extremely toxic and filled with dumb drama for no goddamn reason. This community is known for the worst smelling players, has the most amount of rage compilations. How do we have a worse community than the one with the hypocritical furry in it, huh? Other than that, the community is pretty cool from what I've personally seen. This game has been through my whole entire childhood, ever since I was a little boy to now when I'm just a sad adult. It started with Melee. I played this at a summer camp where I mainly played Yoshi, and I sucked so badly. We did duos, and I got teamed with a counselor who pretty much carried my dumb ass, but I don't remember much from that game. But I did have a great time with others. I didn't play another Smash game till years later when I moved to Germany in the summer. We didn't have internet or air conditioning, so all I really could do was play video games. And one of the video games I would mainly play was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Me and my bro would play that game a lot. You know, we played that game so much. Just so much content in this game. It's unbelievable, especially like the story mode with Subspace Emissary and how amazing that was. The map editor especially, which unfortunately would never be as good as this game ever again. There was something so simple about the editor that would just make it so easy to make stages in a short amount of time. We don't have that anymore. I created tons of creative stages, unlike now where I've only created 2. Boom boom. The story mode was something I wasn't expecting, and it was really fun. Especially the story mode, which was pretty fun. It was interesting. What else did I say about it? Especially when it came to the bosses in the platforming section. Although I wasn't a fan of the repetitive enemies and level design. And those legendary cutscenes are what really made that story mode so special. It is a shame that the story mode will never be this good again. It would never be replicated in any of the other Smash Bros. Games. You know, it's such a shame, but oh well. This game is extremely underrated and overhated in this community. Although the game, yeah, I get it, itself is a bit outdated. The mechanics are still amazing. It just isn't as refined as the other games in this series, okay? And the graphics do clash a bit with characters like Ness and Snake being on the same screen looking weird as hell together, but other than that, a legendary game. It's definitely not the worst one in the series. Definitely not the worst one. The game helped me create so many bonds with my friends, especially when I moved to Germany. My best friends, they were the ones I played Smash with. and Smash is what connected us at first. We would always play it at the Teen Center together. Yes, that's a thing. The next one I'm going to talk about is the one for the Wii U 3DS. This one really just kind of feels like a transition game. It's really empty when it comes to content and everything like that. There was a weird party mode that no one liked, and an underrated but shallow mode on the 3DS version. Tons of missing characters. Felt like this was just a setup for the next one. This one did introduce me to online play and the importance of DLC later on, but other than that, this one's just okay. It's not bad. Okay boys, it's time to talk about Smash Bros. Ultimate. Although before that I did play the original Smash Bros, which is the worst one in the series. Don't at me. I know that one was the starter. It's just a bad starter. Did not age well at all. Let me go ahead and continue on. Smash Bros. Ultimate really does feel like the ultimate version of the game, doesn't it? But I'm so sorry about that. First ever time I went to a midnight release. This was also a game I fully completed, making it one of the few games I've actually completed. I think I've only completed games like Super Mario Odyssey, before mentioned, and Spider-Man for PlayStation 4. There's tons of content in this one. It just feels so complete, honestly. Like, where's the series going to go after this? It's just, it's done, it's gone, it's there. It really feels like a peak. Kind of how like I felt about Endgame, where it's just so awesome that it's never going to be this awesome ever again. You know what I mean. The series, the story mode was perfect for this game, although it's missing the ambition of Subspace Emissary. What made Subspace Emissary so great in the first place was the cutscenes, which this story mode is kind of missing, the different gameplay, which this one's also missing. I do enjoy this one more than Subspace Emissary, because although Subspace Emissary is more experimental with everything, I feel like it's just too far gone from what the game actually is. You feel me? It's just how I feel. Okay, I understand a lot of people like this one more than the other one, but that's not the point. Mainly, I like the other one because of the addition of spirits. But I'll get to that in a second. The characters are just amazing and they feel endless. There's so many characters. So many. There's so many characters, from returning ones to the highly anticipated ones, all the ones that people wanted. Although the DLC characters, they create so much hype, almost always delivers, except for when it doesn't. I feel like the reveals could be ordered differently, but other than that, the characters are amazing. Online play is still terrible, but that's just that. Can't really do anything about that, can we? The addition of spirits is neat and adds a whole new element that the series could always use. The mechanics finally have been perfected for the most part, although the new characters could use some touch-ups so they don't end up like the characters from the Wii U/3DS version. I spent tons of hours on this game, and matchmaking forces you to play with people your level, which I have to appreciate it whether or not I agree with it or not. The game is near flawless and really does feel like a great conclusion to a long-going series, especially with Sakurai dedicating his time and sacrificing his health in order to make this game as great as possible. I really hope it doesn't end up like Marvel vs. Capcom, since I don't see what else they can do with the series that they already haven't done. The sales will probably get us another game, so let's hope that's at least... let's hope that that game is at least on the same level as this one. But the conclusion is that fighting games create good bonds with people, and that's the appeal of fighting games. I didn't write a conclusion for this video, I'm sorry. That time! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the decade is almost over, and you know what, I need to end this decade in the best way possible. I gotta end it off with a bang. Hey guys, today's SBU, we were talking about our best and worst gaming experiences. And